Yeah, we were saying this about there being chaos at our last race, but a reminder now of our starting order for our second go here at Daytona.
Yep, so here is how the grid is going to line up for part two then of the first race of the weekend then for the Manufacturers' Cup. Mazda and Cardinal on pole position. Subaru and Danny Solis head the second position of the grid. Then the second row is headed by Sato in P3. Toyota with Kai de Bruin in fourth place. Then Lexus and Harold Valson line up on P5. They have got Lamborghini's Yusuke Goto. He was right at the back of the field, if you remember, the first running of this one. So opportunity knocks for them. Ferrari down in seventh place. Honda are in eighth position with Trent Jeffrey alongside them. BMW Randall Hayward in ninth position. The top 10 completed by Mercedes-AMG and Sasaki. Then you have got McLaren with Yamamoto. Let's see what progress they can make. Nissan down there, though, in 12th. Philo with a lot of work to do, considering that they were originally starting in fourth place. It has not gone well so far for Nissan. They were involved in that big crash that we saw, which brought out the red flag ultimately. So now down to 6 laps of action then, and let's see how this one is going to work out. Originally it was a 10-lap race distance, now down to 6, so slightly reduced race distance. I'm sure opportunity knocks for some of the teams and some of the drivers, but it is going to be very interesting to see how this one is going to work out. And also for Subaru there, they can thank their lucky stars really, because it did not work out at all.
No, I mean, like I say, getting sort of shunted to the back of the pack there is not ideal. But another go at it now as we roll around, rolling start, as we come to the start-finish line. 6 laps at the Daytona Oval Circuit. High speeds, high risks here in the first race of the grand final of the Manufacturers' Cup. Will Team Mazda lead from the get-go? Will Team Subaru manage to not spin around this time? Let's find out.
Absolutely. There we go then. The restart is about to get underway for the first race of the Manufacturers' Cup for the 2025 GT World Finals. Mazda across the line first, with Subaru and Porsche slotting in behind in second and third place then, respectively. We come through and in towards the first turn. Now, we saw a lot of drivers going for the low line through the first time. They're already starting to bump draft through the first corner, and that's the problem when you get bump drafting in a situation like that through a corner. You can turn these cars around with almost your little finger because they're just on the ragged edge of adhesion. Now down the back straight. Now we'll see how effective this slipstream is proven to be. You can see Subaru and Mazda working together here, bumping one another as we come down this back straight. Is anybody going to pull out of the slipstream, go for a higher line in towards this left-hander? No opportunity moving there for Toyota. They go towards the sort of middle line of it, but you can see them moving around constantly at this point of the corner.
Yeah, it's harder than it looks, and this is where the drivers can very easily tense up and just make those little mistakes. But it's very, very important to try and stay in your line and keep things consistent. The moment you duck out, you have to hope someone goes with you, otherwise you're left there. And there goes Team Ferrari using the side draft. Do they have help there on the outside? We can't see it at the moment. They do have hope. Team BMW there going to the high side, trying to push and maybe form that second lane. They've got no other choice, BMW. There's no other way they're going to get through otherwise.
So points to the top 6, just to remind you, in this race. And in terms of the points as well, you get 6 points for the victory, all the way down to 1 point for sixth position. Now, Ferrari, they're going for that higher line on the outside. They've got Lamborghini on the low side then here as we come down this back straight over the timing line. And let's see how it's going to work out then. So we begin lap 3. Mazda it is that leads. Subaru are in second place. Then you've got Porsche in third position, followed by Toyota, followed by Lexus. Over in towards the first turn we go. You can see bumping and barging in the sort of mid to latter pack as they sneak their way through. We're not seeing anyone going 2 by 2 through these first couple of corners. Down this back straight we go, though. Are we going to see positions beginning to change hands? There's not a lot of time now, of course. Original race distance 10 laps. Now down to 6 laps, and we're already at the halfway stage as we're on lap 3 here. At the moment, it's still Mazda, Subaru and Porsche who lead from the front.
Yeah, I mean, you have to start doing something different now and thinking about it again. All I've seen really is the Team Ferrari, and then Lamborghini, they've touched Ferrari. They just went under the bottom line there. Car spins around, Ferrari out as well, no fault of their own, and then there were 10. So Ferrari, who were trying to invent something around the outside, in the end just got collected in something that was not their fault. But now Trent Jeffrey has another big one. Boys, sort it out. Come on.
Not good at all there for Trent Jeffrey. He's going to be bitterly disappointed for that, as will the entire Honda team. We're 2 by 2 in the background. Now we're starting to see the action taking place. But is it enough for Mazda and Subaru? Have they broken away into a lead? Not really, because it closes up at the end of the back straight. So we come through in towards the final turn on this Daytona Oval. Now we're going to start to see Subaru beginning to pull some punches. The problem with that Subaru is it's very quick in technical corners, on technical circuits. In a straight line, not necessarily so. So they have to sit in the slipstream here at this point and hope for a bump draft there for Porsche. Across the line we go. Penultimate lap now begins. It's still Mazda that leads. Subaru in second. Porsche in third. Points down to 6 once again. Just to remind you, at the moment, it's Nissan who'll be the final point scorers.
Is anyone going to take a risk here? I mean, we've seen what's happened to Ferrari, Lamborghini and Honda. You take a risk, you get shunted. So, I mean, there's nothing you can do. They're all one a turn right now. Mazda in the fortuitous position of leading that pack, but you have to think you're all just waiting. It doesn't matter where you are here. It matters where you are crossing the line at the end of the next lap. Right now, Mazda will be the victors, but I have got a feeling it's going to get a little bit more spicy before we get into this race.
Yeah, you get the sense that this is going to start to bubble up. What a disappointment, though, for Lamborghini and for Ferrari, especially for Ferrari, that brand new 296 car that they are competing with here this weekend. Let's hope that their second and third races, respectively, go quite well. We begin the final lap of action, though, at the Daytona Tri-Oval. So Mazda from Subaru, from Porsche, as we come down in towards the first turn for the final time. Don't think anybody's going to think about a higher line through there, but they're certainly bumping one another going through and all sticking to quite a low line. But look at Porsche. They're coming to pressure from Toyota, and I wonder if the door is starting to open for Toyota there and whether they're going to try and pick their pocket for that final podium place to pick up more points. Down the back straight we go for one final time.
Someone's got to try something here. BMW been giving a penalty for colliding. It's bump drafting, is it not? I mean, we'll see if we get a replay of that later on, but it doesn't matter now. Final lap.
Unless it was the incident with Honda that we saw a couple of laps ago. Yep. Maybe through the final corner we go, though. So Mazda it is that lead from Subaru, from Porsche. We'd run to the line in race 1 of the Manufacturers' Cup World Finals here. And it's going to be first blood to Mazda. Porsche in third place, just behind Team Subaru. Toyota are in fourth, Lexus are fifth. And the final points position is occupied by Nissan ahead of McLaren and BMW, who managed to nick the final points place despite that 1 second penalty on the final lap of racing then here. And a great end to that one. Good job, though, from the eventual winners of Mazda and from Samuel Cardinal, the driver of that car, because he did an exceptionally...
Life is the highway. Just lighter than quick chat. And now the end is near, and so I face my final curtain. My friend, I'll say clear, I'll state my case. Each regrets. What's up with it? I've had a few. Too few to mention. What I had to do without exemption. I'm doing good. How are you doing? How's the stream sound?
So then, over to the second race of the Manufacturers' Cup, Autopolis in the wet. And Mazda took first blood a few moments ago in the first race of the weekend. Can they convert that into a second win and extend the lead in the points championship? Well, it's Pol Ura who will drive for them in this second race. Takuma Miyazono will be with Subaru on the front row of the grid. Then you've got Jose Serrano for Porsche in P3. Morimoto for Toyota lines up in fourth position ahead of Lexus and Kanase Kawakami in P5. Of course, former double champions. Then Nissan, also former Manufacturers' Cup champions, lining up P6. Artem Mosso is seventh on the grid, and BMW with Thomas Laboutelet lining up in P8. Mercedes-AMG and Lucas Bonelli lining up in ninth position, and P10 is Honda with Sugimura. 11th place, Lamborghini and Alifa in that final row of the grid, with João Jesus for Ferrari. A lot of work for both Lamborghini and Ferrari to do, and not a lot of time to do it in here, Jimmy, because it's only a 5-lapper.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be tricky for the guys here, because they're going to have to try and experiment with grip levels with something they've not had the chance to do so yet. I mean, Autopolis is a tricky circuit. The best of times, add into the fact now that you're in wet conditions, a spray from the car in front of you lower down the field. I mean, Pol Ura is in pole position in two ways, really. One, he's literally there, and two, he hasn't got that spray to deal with, so he gets a much easier job going down to T1 for the first time. But interesting to see which cars and which teams really make the most of these conditions.
Well, just a reminder, points, of course, awarded down to 10th place in this race. 12 points on offer for the victor, 10 points for second, 8 points down to third, and then, of course, as we know, points all the way down to P10, and double points for the grand final. In terms of double points, a little bit more than that, actually, because it's 24 points in total for the victory. But more on that a little bit later. Let's get ready, though, to go for race 2 of the Manufacturers' Cup here in Fukuoka. It's time to go racing at the Autopolis Raceway, with Mazda across the line first, from Subaru, from Porsche, as we come in towards that first corner in the heavy, wet conditions. So wet tyres available for the drivers. No need to worry about any pit stops in this race. It's not really going to be set to dry out, but who's going to be able to master these conditions in the wet? So Subaru there in second position, with Porsche who are in P3. And are we going to see Porsche getting an early advantage here on Subaru? Well, it certainly looks like it. They're going for the outside line here, and they're going to go sweeping around the outside. Are they going to make that move stick? Absolutely brilliant there for Porsche and for Sato, getting the better of Subaru, and for Takuma Miyazono, who drops himself down into third place, as we see Nissan versus Toyota for fourth place in the background as well.
Yeah, Nissan, they're chucking the car in and knocking Toyota out of the way. So I'm not sure the stewards are going to enjoy that one, but a robust move there from the fourth place team. Currently on board with Takuma Miyazono, looking at the back of the Porsche, went around the outside of him there. It just goes to show that different lines work in these wet conditions. Driving on the rubbered up dry line is a good way to slide wide, so you've got to try and avoid that, as Team Toyota making their way back by Nissan. McLaren in the background too, trying to wind their way through, as the Nissan scrambles for traction and corner exit here. Treacherous conditions for these drivers, and that spray as well really makes things difficult.
Yeah, it certainly does, coming down to the bottom of the circuit. Look at the advantage that Mazda have already built up, about half a second or so. Doesn't sound like a particularly huge amount, but it is quite significant, especially at this early stage of the race. Looking here at Morimoto then in the Toyota. Nissan very close behind Hiroshi Okamoto, the two Japanese drivers in the two Japanese manufactured cars, in fourth and fifth place there, respectively. Can they make an impact here on this race? Through the left-hander and then through this long, lazy right-hander, which completes the lap. And you can see the difference in lines there. Nissan trying to go for the inside line. Is it going to work on Toyota? Well, they've got track position. It's just going to sort of converge as they come through the left-hander. They're going to be shuffled to the curb on the outside, and Toyota might be able to pick the advantage back between them. They bang against one another as we come down the start-finish straight, but Toyota then into fourth. Nissan still sit there in P5.
Yeah, all this squabbling just lets the top three get away, though. Nissan, big launch. Oh, they've turned Toyota off into the corner pocket. Goes Team Toyota into the gravel trap and down to last place. What a shame, because these guys were looking good in the standings. That's going to be huge for them there. You can see the teammates not happy about that whatsoever. Can't really blame them there. For sure, a penalty for Team Nissan.
No doubt about it. Stewards are going to be looking into that one, but Morimoto will be bitterly disappointed with that, as will the whole Team Toyota outfit. And, well, Nissan, as you say, I imagine that Okamoto is going to be facing some kind of sanction for that incident. Meanwhile, Mazda it is that lead the way. Let's have another look at it. So you can see here, Toyota in fourth place, Nissan going for that lunge on the inside. The gap is there, but unfortunately, it sort of two doesn't go into one. And, well, you see what happens. Toyota straight to the scene of the accident.
Yeah, the gap was there until it wasn't. I think that was Karatsa driving the car there. So he ain't going to be happy with that one. But
Why, bro?
back in the front of the field, Paul Ura doing a good job
Right
fending off the attacks of the team Porsche there. Who's at the wheel of that one, Tom? Is it Serrano's at the wheel of that right now? We know how fast Jose Serrano is. Sorry, it's
Serrano is at the wheel of that one. Yeah, beg your pardon.
Yeah, there he is. No, it definitely is Serrano. But we know how quick he is. Very strong team for Team Porsche. You know, Angel coming in and saying we've got a chance here. They really do. If they keep up these performances, getting by Team Mazda here will help that happen, because right now they're looking very, very quick.
Well, at the moment they're even on points. Let's not forget, both on 22 points. Look at the sliding there for Serrano. He's just trying to find the limits of grip, isn't he? And just exploring a little bit beyond that. But they're tied on points. So whoever finishes ahead in this race is going to gain a bit more of an advantage than the other. So there's plenty of opportunity and a good incentive there as well. More points on offer here in these World Finals. You can hear the rain battering against the windscreen as they come down the start-finish straight. So lap 3 out of 5 we are on. We come across the timing line then here. And sort of the three outliers at the moment, Mazda, Porsche and Subaru. They've got a 2-second advantage now over Nissan, who sit there in 4th position.
So we just, that's down in part to the contact earlier on, but the Porsche are looking very aggressive, looking to make a move maybe on Team Mazda. He likes the outside move here, does Serrano. Will he get it on Paul Ura? He does. Round the outside goes Jose Serrano for Team Porsche, passing his teammate, his Spanish teammate there, Paul Ura in the Mazda. Man, these guys really are going at it, aren't they? And in the back there, Takuma Miyazono trying to follow his way through. These top 3 cars giving us a hell of a show.
This circuit really does suit the Subaru there in 3rd place as well. So let's keep an eye out and see what Miyazono is going to be able to do as they make their way through. And now the circuit begins to open up a little bit in this sort of mid-section of it. We flick through this right-hander, and this is a bit of an Achilles heel for Subaru. It's a very good car in techniques of the track. On the longer straight, not so good because it didn't have the same straight line speed. This is Lexus versus Lamborghini down to the first corner. Mercedes and BMW, and Lamborghini just come careering into the side of them. So Lamborghini really suffering some misfortune in this race, and Gotto, the aggressor in that one, unfortunately, I think there's going to be more penalties coming their way.
There's a lot of this going on. It's really hard to pick your braking zone down there, and unfortunately, if you're on the outside ahead of them, you kind of act as the brake. And, of course, that'll be looked into by our stewards as well. On board now with Miyazono in the Subaru, really working the wheel of this Subaru BRZ. Almost run into the back of the Mazda. Lamborghini, unsurprisingly, they're sat of a 2-second penalty. So, that's what you get for shunting a car off. Lamborghini, that'll hurt them. Well, to be honest, they're a 7th now, but 2 seconds will put them down to about where AMG is. Now here's where we see the weakness of this Subaru. Runs out of puff on the straights, but very light, very agile. In that draft, actually, wasn't falling back too much.
No, okay in the slipstream at the moment. Let's see whether Miyazono can use that to his advantage coming down towards the first corner. Mercedes and BMW under investigation there as well. Still nothing on Nissan and the contact that we saw in towards that first corner as to whether they're going to be picking up a penalty for their part in the incident. BMW look like they're out of this one though, as Laboutelet has not come across the line in a fair amount of time. We come through this left-hander though. We're now on the penultimate lap of racing here. This was a favourite overtaking spot that we've seen over the course of this one, and now are we going to start to see Miyazono coming through? There is BMW, there is Laboutelet, who clearly looks to be suffering from what appears to be some kind of a technical problem, being stranded on the side of the circuit. But I have to say, Jimmy, the rain intensity looks to have decreased somewhat in the sort of latter stages of this race. I don't think the circuit's going to dry up significantly, but it's definitely a bit less heavier in terms of the rainfall than it was a couple of laps ago.
Yeah, as you say, Tom, I think it's not really going to dry so much towards the end of the race. So it is really a straight fight between these guys. You can see going into this hairpin there, the lock that Paul Ura in that Mazda on, just crossing the wheel over, trying to get some grip out of those front tyres, but just scrubbing across. And it's been a great race from Jose Serrano in that Porsche, really showing what that car can do in these conditions and flirting with danger, touching those curbs in the wet, always a little bit scary. But not for these guys, proper pros here, as we watch Miyazono again. This is where this car is strong, this Subaru. Really quick for these last couple of corners, but what can they do about it?
Yeah, that is the question. Lamborghini and Ferrari exchanging positions there. Mercedes picking up a penalty for their part in a collision, presumably with BMW. On board we ride, though, with Takuma Miyazono. We come through the left-hander in towards the final 2 corners of this circuit to begin the last lap of racing. And Porsche and Serrano now just beginning to build a little bit of a cushion, actually, over Mazda and Subaru. And I wonder if that might just be enough for them to not come under any real threat on this final lap, which we now begin with Porsche leading from Mazda, from Subaru. That's your top 3.
Yeah, a little wiggle there from Miyazono, so that's really going to hurt him going on to this lap. So, last lap of the second race here at Fukuoka. Team Porsche leading by 6 tenths from Team Mazda. Subaru in third place. We're on board now at Miyazono. Can he invent something here? Anything that he can do? He's a bit far back, I think, to have any sort of lunge here, and he's got a big straight to contend with. We know this car doesn't really do too well with, but he's really fast, Miyazono. He can really make this thing work if he can just find the line. But Paul Ura also trying to get back onto the rear spoiler of the Porsche, but we have to say that Serrano's just looked in a league of his own here.
Yeah, first sector, Euro was actually a little bit quicker by a few tenths of a second over Serrano. So if he can continue building that advantage into the final sector of this one and continue that same sort of trajectory, there's a good opportunity for a possible lunge in the final few stages of this one. So Mazda and Subaru were tied on points at the start of this race. If the checker flag finishes as it is now, it'll be Mazda with a 2-point advantage going into the penultimate race of the season in the Manufacturers' Cup, with Porsche there in third position, but very close indeed, with just 3 points separating those three teams.
Yeah, to bring Porsche right back into it. And you know, Ian Gallagher was saying at the start of this, like, I fancy this. I reckon we can do this, Team Porsche. We can be champions if we can just get a good couple of races. This will be ideal for them. Only a few more corners separate Porsche and Jose Serrano from a win here in race 2.
You're again a tenth of a second faster, gap down to just under half a second now. So it just takes that one mistake from Jose Serrano at the sharp end of this one.
Marvel? Ocean man, take me by the hand, take me to the land. Ocean. Tell Gino I miss him.